Hey guys, it's Cal from the Lighting Doctor here. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this consultation series. We're going to give you all kinds of tips and tricks for effectively and properly lighting up your home. This is a free consultation that we do for all our clients. So if you want to get your free consultation, just shoot me an email at cal@lightingdoctor.ca. Send me a few pictures and we'll give you a video presentation of what lights are going to work best with your property, or go and visit us at lightingdoctor.ca or go check out all our videos on YouTube.
Hey, Eric, thanks for sending in your pictures here. Yeah, I'll give you some ideas. I think you could do some really cool things. You got some nice features in the yard and some things I'll show you how to do. But definitely, I agree with you. I mean, I think these are key trees that you want to light. What I would do, this one I know you had mentioned about being worried of getting the wire here. What you might have to do is actually just run one wire from the backyard to this one. Hopefully you can get some in there, or there's cracks or somewhere small enough that you can kind of get that wire to the front. But you could always just have this one run with the backyard. Typically you're not going to be running most people don't run them separately. They just run them on a timer. So whether it be dusk dawn or whatever, the nice thing is with the Wi-Fi timer, even if they're on different transformers, which you may have to do, you can still have them program on the exact same app with the exact same times and everything. So it'll still come on at the same time. But I would probably, on a tree like this, I would probably try and use 2 accent lights. I mean, you're going to want to, I think, use more than one light on these trees just because they are really nice trees, and I think you really want those to be the feature trees. So I would probably try and use an accent light on this side, and I might even on this side. Again, that's going to help get some of the canopy, as well as because there's so many branching structures in these trees that you want to take advantage of them. So I mean, you can start with one, but I would definitely suggest you're probably going to want to throw at least 2 on this side from both sides. And something I will suggest is if this is right in the grass, you may not want to use just a regular uplight, because then you're going to have to trim around it and stuff, which becomes a pain in the butt. So you might want to use an in-ground light that just sits flush in the grass. It does the exact same effect as this guy. The only difference is now you can just run a lawnmower over it. You don't have to worry about trimming around it. They do cost a little bit more, but it saves you some maintenance. So you can do either or. It just depends. What you like there. So I would do that there, and then on this tree I would do the same thing. I probably would have more than one light, but I think for sure what I would do is I would have one accent light on this side of the trunk that kind of shines up in here, and I would try and use a slightly higher intensity light. So I would increase the wattage a little bit so that you can push a little bit more light into here. But then the other thing you're going to want to do to take advantage of some of the canopy that you have around is actually, put 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 lights further around the tree that are kind of shining up into the canopy. Now, how you can do that is if there's beds and stuff around them that you can throw an accent light and just have that shining like straight up, so you're catching a lot of the canopy of the tree, then you can definitely do that. If you have to get a light, say for example out here, that's shining straight up, then that's again where you could use that in-ground light. So you throw one of those here, maybe you throw one in here if you can't quite get it on that side of the bush, and then you throw another light over here, and you have like 3 of those that are just getting the canopy of this tree. And the further out you can get it, the more of that canopy you're gonna get. So that's probably what I would do there. And then I wouldn't worry about any, I know you had talked about some path lights and stuff. I probably wouldn't throw any path lights. The reason being is because what I would do is I'd probably try and take advantage of some of these branches. Now I'm not too sure how far you want this to go, but I would try and get at least 1 or 2 hanging lights. So the hanging lights are these guys that basically mount right in the tree. They just they come with a steel wire that that just fastens to the tree, and you actually mount those from above. And it's really cool because now what it does is it highlights this whole area without you having to have any path lights that you got to worry about getting knocked over or anything like that. So you throw 2 of those up there, that would do a really good job of lighting this up. Something else I probably would do, you might think it's overkill, but it typically isn't, is I would probably try and get some accent lights back on both sides of the window here to kind of take advantage of some of the stonework. Also creates a little bit of reflective light for the beds and stuff that are in front. is the other thing that I would do. So that is kind of what I would do in the front area there. So talk about a couple uplights for the trees. You may need to go with some in-ground ones. So you're looking at probably, I would say one, probably three more for this one, 4, 5, 6. And then you do the two in the front. So call it 8 uplights. And that can be a combination of uplights and in-ground lights, just depending on where you need to place those. But they'll basically both do the same thing. And then maybe 2 hanging lights that just help highlight down below here. And then if we move on to the back, something I like doing in an area like this, again, I don't like using path lights necessarily in an area like this, because again, now you're gonna have to trim around those and they get beat to heck. So what I like using, and I've done this a lot, is actually use these lights. So this is a hardscape light that's typically designed to fit you know, under the cap of a of like a rock wall or something. But where we use this a lot is actually mounting it on the fence. So this back plate comes off and you can actually screw this right into the fence. And I like putting them, you know, kind of one, hide it under this lip, hide it under this lip, and maybe one more. So maybe even just 2 of those in here. And it's surprising how much light it gives up. It's out of the way. It's easy to just kind of staple the wire to the side of the fence. You make your connections in the ground still. It's got about a I think it's a 15 or 20 foot lead wire on it, so it gives you lots of wire to make those connections in there and easily hide and fasten that wire up along the fence. But it does a really great job of lighting this, and you don't see the light source. You're the only one typically that even knows those are there. But at night, it really lights up an area like that, and it's a fairly inexpensive way of doing that, because again, you probably only need 1, maybe 2 of those in this area will give you sufficient light. You know, something else sometimes that people will do is they'll use those in-ground lights and place them kind of by the side of the house here, if you have nice brickwork like this, and have it featuring the side of the house as well. So 2 options that you can do. Both are great. It just depends on what you're looking for. If you want to highlight the brickwork, definitely go with the in-ground lights. The only thing to keep in mind is that if this is an area you walk a lot, those will be shining up, and they might tend to shine in your eye a little bit. So that's why I like these guys, because they disappear. You don't know they're there, but they are just very functional way of lighting the space like that. In the back, really what I would do is I would just focus on, I wouldn't focus too much on, it looks like you have some string lights and stuff here, so I wouldn't focus too much on any of this area. Again, if you wanted to highlight the back perimeter and you have this fence, I'm a huge fan of using those lights that I just showed you, those hardscape lights, and hiding them in the fence. At my house, that's exactly what we've done. We've done that, and then we still have some trees that we've highlighted. So you might use 3 or 4 along this whole area, and it lights that up. And then you go and you take an accent light. Just a standard one like these with most of the trees that you have in the back here, I see, would do a great job. You place that at the base, and you have it really shining kind of straight up, and catch all this branching structure into the canopy. What I see a lot of people do with lighting is they'll try and bring it back somewhere and have it shining up at the foliage, but you're better off having it close and having it shine up, because now you also take advantage of a lot of the barking structure. So I would do that. Anywhere where you're kind of looking out from the deck and you see these big trees, same thing. I would try and get a accent light at the base of that tree to help light that up. You know, this guy back here, you definitely want to get an accent light on that guy, so as you're looking up or looking out from the deck, that's lit up. And then and then we already talked about this one. I would definitely try and get 1, if not 2 on this one, again, because you get some cool branching structures, but this seems like it's got a wider canopy tree. So I might throw like 2 at the base and kind of have them shining out a little bit this way, so that you're not only taking advantage of the cool trunking features and branching features, but also a lot of that canopy. And then the rose bushes in the back, you know, sometimes what we'll do, I don't think you have to, because I think you have enough of these features that you want those to stand out. But if you did, some people will put some path lights, you know, 1 or 2 in here, kind of in between where the trees are, just to kind of outline the perimeter a little bit more. That's an option. It just depends what your budget is. I don't necessarily think you need it. Another thing that sometimes we'll look at, especially if those are fairly thick and showy rose bushes, is we'll use a wash light like this. Very similar to an accent light, but softer light, wider angle, so it does a really good job of highlighting lower line shrubs and things like this, it's not nearly as intense and as bright as an accent light, which is another reason I like using that, because then this way these are bigger trees are still the ones that stand out. They're your feature, and then you kind of have a softer, subtler kind of backlight for some areas like this, and you throw one of those maybe in there that lights up this. So I think that covers most of what you had asked about. And if not, by all means, just shoot me an email with another couple questions. But yeah, I hope you go with the hanging lights here. I think that would look phenomenal. Really make those two trees in the front your feature. Like I said, you may have to run wire from the back to this front one, but it's totally worth it unless you got some big cracks in your driveway. Sometimes you can hide the wire in there and then just seal it with concrete afterwards. Or a little bit of a concrete filler or something like that. But I think it's probably going to be easier for you just to run a little extra wire to that front one. So if you have any other questions, Eric, let me know. Happy to help.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video presentation with some great tips and tools on how to go and properly and effectively light up your landscape. And be sure, if you want your own free consultation video just like that one, send me an email at cal@lightingdoctor.ca with a few pictures of your property, and we'll get back to you with some really cool ideas and ways to go and effectively light your property. And be sure to watch the videos after this one for more tips on how to install landscape lighting, as well as how to light up your landscape the best way possible.